thanks to the hundreds and hundreds of people that we spoke to, we interrogated over the last 10 days right across China. I think we exhausted them as much as the response itself has been exhausting them. In the face of what has been a previously unknown disease, China has taken one of the most ancient strategies for infectious disease control and rolled out probably the most ambitious and I would say agile and aggressive disease containment effort in history. China took old-fashioned measures like the national approach to hand washing, the mask wearing, the social distancing, the universal temperature monitoring. The response started to change. Just a couple of small examples. As they cleared these giant hospitals to make space for overwhelming numbers of COVID-19 cases, they moved a huge amount of the routine provision of medical services onto online platforms and other mechanisms that they've really come to a cutting edge with. Even though every province was suffering outbreak, was getting infected, the governors were prioritizing the movement of medical teams and PPE out to Hubei and Wuhan. And that's a very important message for the rest of the world about how we work in the kind of solidarity and collaborative action that's going to be needed to beat this virus. And it's the opinion of the Joint Mission, after looking at this very, very closely and in different ways, that there's no question that China's bold approach to the rapid spread of this new respiratory pathogen has changed the course of what was a rapidly escalating and continues to be deadly epidemic. So what you see is this is rising, then it abruptly gets blunted, and it skews coming down like that, which is a picture that often accompanies the use of some kind of measures to change the shape of the outbreak. And it wasn't easy, because what I didn't mention on this slide is every one of these lines represent a huge decision by policymakers and politicians in this country, leaders, to actually change the shape with big measures. And this brings us to the third finding in terms of the global response, and probably the biggest challenge. So we don't have a vaccine, we don't have a therapeutic, and you hear it repeatedly in the news, people throwing up their hands, whereas China said, okay, we don't have those, let's get out the old ones, let's adapt them, let's innovate, and let's stop this virus and save lives, and that's what they've done. And this little bit of time can be so important. Remember, it's only 7 weeks since a completely new disease was described. We have diagnostics, we're trialing antivirals, we will probably within months be trialing vaccines. The situation could be very different with just a few gained weeks. As I close, I want to say a few words to the people of Wuhan. 25 years ago, I visited Wuhan, and the Wuhan I found was a fair bit smaller than today, but it was a bustling, energetic, lively place. But when Dr. Liang and I arrived in Wuhan 2 nights ago, it was a very different place. And behind, every window of these skyscrapers that we drove past, there were people. There were 15 million people were staying put in one place for weeks at a time to stop this disease. When this disease finishes, hopefully we'll have a chance to thank the people of Wuhan for the role that they've played in it, because many of us, many other people here have suffered, but the people of that city have gone through an extraordinary period and they're still going through it. It's so much to express and explain, and it's so important that the world understands it at this point, because every day we stop to think about this disease and make decisions, should we do it or we not, this virus will take advantage and almost double the number of cases. We have to move fast.